Let's talk about a question today that you can find on jw.org, the official website of Jehovah's Witnesses, under their frequently asked questions page. The question is, do Jehovah's Witnesses shun former members of their religion? So let's read through the explanation and see what they have to say. Those who are baptized as Jehovah's Witnesses but no longer preach to others, perhaps even drifting away from association with fellow believers, are not shunned. In fact, we reach out to them and try to rekindle their spiritual interest. We do not automatically disfellowship someone who commits a serious sin. If, however, a baptized witness makes a practice of breaking the Bible's moral code and does not repent, he or she will be shunned or disfellowshipped. The Bible clearly states, "Remove the wicked man from among yourselves." 1 Corinthians 5:13. What of a man who is disfellowshipped, but whose wife and children are still Jehovah's Witnesses? The religious ties he had with his family change, but blood ties remain. The marriage relationship and normal family affections and dealings continue. Disfellowshipped individuals may attend our religious services. If they wish, they may also receive spiritual counsel from congregation elders. The goal is to help each individual once more to qualify to be one of Jehovah's Witnesses. Disfellowship people who reject improper conduct and demonstrate a sincere desire to live by the Bible's standards are always welcome to become members of the congregation again. If I didn't know how this organization actually works, I would conclude from this that if you no longer want to be part of this religion, your friends and family will treat you no differently. That, by the way, is what most non-witnesses want to know. They want to know if your family and friends will cut off all ties with you if you leave the organization. The answer is yes. Why not make that clear? Why hide that fact? I actually showed this article to several non-witnesses because I wanted to get their perspective on it. I wanted to know if they were seeing the same thing I was seeing. I asked them to read the article and just based on that information, answer the following question. Based on the information you just read, if a young child grows up as a witness, gets baptized, decides later on that he doesn't want to be part of the religion anymore and leaves, will his family cut ties with him? Every single person said no, because it says right here in the article that normal family affections and dealings continue. Let's see if we can get a little bit more of an honest perspective on the disfellowshipping and the shunning practice, especially as it concerns family, by looking at another article from the Watchtower Society. This comes from a 2011 Watchtower, February 15th edition, under an article entitled, "Do You Hate Lawlessness?" Starting in paragraph 15, we read, "We need to give thought to these questions. Would I choose to associate regularly with someone who has been disfellowshipped or who has disassociated himself from the Christian congregation? What if that one is a close relative who no longer lives at home? Such a situation can be a real test of our love of righteousness and of our loyalty to God. Consider the experience of a sister whose adult son at one time had love for Jehovah. Later in life, however, he unrepentantly chose to practice lawlessness. Hence, he was disfellowshipped from the congregation. Our sister loved Jehovah, but she also loved her son and found it extremely difficult to apply the scriptural command to avoid associating with him. What advice would you have given this sister? An elder helped her to realize that Jehovah understood the pain she felt. The brother invited her to think about the pain Jehovah must have experienced when some of his angelic sons rebelled. Let's stop right there for a moment and take a little side trip to the book of Job, chapter 1, starting in verse 6. Now the day came when the sons of the true God entered to take their station before Jehovah, and Satan also entered among them. Then Jehovah said to Satan, "Where have you come from?" And from that point they had a good long conversation. So even the devil was not shunned by God. Let's return to the article. The elder reasoned with her that even though Jehovah knows how painful such a circumstance can be, he requires that unrepentant sinners be disfellowshipped. She took the reminders to heart and loyally upheld the disfellowshipping arrangement. Such loyalty makes Jehovah's heart glad. If you face a similar situation, please remember that Jehovah sympathizes with you. By cutting off contact with the disfellowshipped or disassociated one, you are showing that you hate the attitudes and actions that led to that outcome. However, you are also showing that you love the wrongdoer enough to do what is best for him or her. Your loyalty to Jehovah may increase the likelihood that the disciplined one will repent and return to Jehovah. This article is far more honest in answering the question about whether or not Jehovah's Witnesses shun former members than what they posted on their FAQ. Let's run down the highlights. Firstly, yes, Jehovah's Witnesses unequivocally shun former members. This includes family members. Secondly, the practice of shunning is seen as a test of loyalty to God. Thirdly, they believe shunning is an act of love towards the person they are shunning. Fourthly, they believe that passing this test of loyalty will inspire the person they are shunning to return to the organization. It's not because the person becomes desperate and depressed after losing his entire social circle, including his family. It's because they're so impressed by the witness's unwavering loyalty. Now, some witnesses may object and say that everything in the Frequently Asked Questions article is technically true. That's correct. But it is written in such shaded language that it will necessarily give people unfamiliar with the organization a false impression that the shunning practice is not as bad as some people say. It's flatly dishonest, and it's wrong that they've done this. But don't take my word for that. Let's see what another Watchtower article says about deception. This is a 2002 Watchtower, May 1st edition, page 16, paragraph 10, under the subheading, Jehovah Hates the Course of Treachery. However, we have reason for caution. We could miss the lessons that are implicit in Malachi 2, 1 through 9. Are we personally alert so that no unrighteousness is found on our lips? For example, can our family members really trust what we say? Can our spiritual brothers and sisters in the congregation do the same? It would be easy to develop the habit of coaching one's words in terms that are technically accurate but misleading. Or one might exaggerate or hide details in a business matter. Would Jehovah not see that? And if we followed such practices, would he accept sacrifices of praise from our lips? Perhaps it's time Watchtower started practicing what they preach.